Alright, thank you very much. Doing the work of a million people. Appreciate all you've been doing. And yeah, this is Unravel 2. I'm ripWSB. I'm going to be doing this solo. Usually I'll be playing this game with my game and life, pretty much everything, co-op partner, Seeps5, so big shout out to her. But we're going to do a little bit different this time. So yeah, we are these two little yarn creatures. It'll be a red one and then a little yellow one will pop out. And these are the two characters we'll be controlling the whole run. If you've ever played or heard of Unravel, the first game is just one little Yarny by himself. And in 2, it lives up to the name, and there's 2 of them. But once we finally gain control, that'll be when we'll start the run and start the time. So we'll just let this play out a little bit. They tie together their string, and bada bing, bada boom, we are 1, but also 2 at the same time. So this game is amazing as a co-op experience. You each get to control a Yarny, obviously. It's still pretty good solo. It's gotten a little bit more broken. There was a strat found recently, but we'll go ahead and count down, and I'll kind of talk about that while we go. All right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. But yeah, so for the most part, you're playing the game as intended. There's somewhat of a new strat found recently. Kind of found it. Apparently, we were going through YouTube, and there was a person that had found a way to kind of climb up walls by themselves. And it was about a year old, the video. So that kind of blew our minds that there was, you know, this crazy way to climb up walls, basically, either solo or co-op, that had been known about for about a year. And here we were just doing the puzzles like we should. So we'll be seeing that quite a bit. Shoutouts to Neophenom. At least, I think, as far as we know, that was like the first person that found it, or the first, like the oldest video on YouTube that we found of somebody doing the trick and kind of explaining how it worked. So big shoutouts to them. But yeah, this is just a kind of introductory level. Just playing through a little bit of an underground section. Nothing too crazy. It kind of introduces you to just the movement, what you can do with each Yarny. So for the most part, it's just going to be jumping and swinging. There's a little bit of puzzle solving, but it's not too heavy on the puzzles. There are, I think, 20 challenge levels that are a lot more challenging. They live up to the name, and that involves more of like a puzzle solving, kind of figuring out things. But for the most part, the main story here is just a pretty straightforward, enjoyable little experience. A little bit of a story as you play. You see these kind of ghosty figures in the back that you'll be following. It's 2 little kids, and they look to be, they look to be escaping some kind of adult-looking figures. So it's kind of left up to interpretation of what exactly is going on. But we're assuming that this little girl is trying to escape an abusive either foster home or actual home. It looked like she's kind of staying in a orphanage or some sort of like foster home. So say what you will. The Yarnies, some people, you know, think they're like the guardians, kind of helping out the children throughout the game. Some people, it's a little bit more morbid, but have called the Yarnies like their spirits, like the children may have passed away, and you're kind of going through their memories and reliving them as these Yarny creatures. But I'm gonna go with that they're just like the little guardian creatures helping out. But yep, just kind of, I think chapter 1 is pretty much all intended. There is a weird random glitch you can get to potentially skip all of chapter 1, but it's really hard to get. There's no setup as far as anybody's been able to find so far, and it involves, there's a piece of driftwood of right when you start the chapter, and if you have a Yarny on top and below that and kind of hold the tension between the yarn, there's, for some reason, there's like this weird physical reaction, and it'll shoot you kind of up and away. There's no way really to control it again, as far as we know. So sometimes you get lucky and it blasts you to the left. And from that first screen, the end of the level is actually like really far to the left. And if you get a lucky log explosion, I guess if you want to call it, then it'll launch you right to the very end. Now, for that to work, you both have to get a lucky reaction from the log, and you have to land in a very small area. So it's something. But if it works, you save about 5 to 6 minutes, so it's pretty... Oh, this is not co-op. Don't do the co-op strats when you're alone. Yeah, the co-op experience for this game is a little broken. It's a little crazy, even not including the major skips. So yeah, if you want a very different game experience, I suggest playing this cooperatively. And I do believe this is, both this and Unravel, the first game, are, or at least were, free on Game Pass. So if you do have an Xbox and Game Pass, then you can play this. I'm unfortunately not. I'm playing on PC, but if I had a Xbox and I could play it, I would be. But both this and the first game, I highly recommend. They're just kind of wholesome little games. The first game I find to be a little bit more intensive in kind of platforming and puzzle solving. So I guess because the second game has the challenge levels separate from the main game is more user-friendly. I think they kind of expect you to play, you know, friends and family, maybe younger people that aren't as good at gaming possibly than some speedrunners could be. So I think it's geared more to enjoyability instead of kind of optimizing the game for crazy stuff. Whoops! Helps to land on these vines. Okay, take 3. Here we go. Like I said, solo is a lot of swinging, and swinging well definitely helps to go quickly. I guess even in co-op, swinging well is a big part of the game. It's amazing what a good swing will do as opposed to a not so great one. There's a lot of tricks that can be used in co-op based off the swing too, so unfortunately co-op has all the cool tricks, the cool glitches, the cool names, but we're gonna enjoy it alone as it was intended. But yeah, we're coming to the end of chapter 1. We're gonna make our way. We'll try the new kind of strat found here with this wall. See if we can just climb up it. Ooh, go, 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 go! Probably losing a little bit of time there, but something to do. I guess we kind of call it goat climbing. Shout out to Guacamelee. I mean, just going up a wall, so I guess that's where the similarities end, but we love that game, so that's kind of what we've been calling it between ourselves. But yeah, these Yarnies are definitely bros for life. Power of friendship.
What happened?
Oh, I should probably turn off those alarms. The power of friendship can take you through hard times. Sorry, I forgot I had my live split sound alerts going. I'm behind the PB, but we're still going well. But yeah, that was chapter 1. So in chapter 2, we'll start to see some like pseudo story type of thing. It's all kind of in the background of the Yarnies. Oh yeah, the Let's Go. I forgot about that. Crap. Yeah, my bad. So there was some we have different sounds for if we're ahead, for behind. So that was a little Mario treat. So we're starting off in chapter 2. We are out of the caves. The lighthouse is the main hub where you access all these, each of the 7 chapters of the game. So once you find it at the end of chapter 1, that's where you'll go into either the challenge levels or just the main chapters of the game. And each chapter basically has a set of 4 challenge levels kind of close to it. So there's some under 2, there'll be some by 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on and so forth. But you can see in the background the kind of ghosty image of the girl banging on the doors. Nobody's letting her in. And then you will see this kind of shadowy adult figure come into play. And that's basically these shadowy adults are who we're going to be seeing these kids run from for the rest of the run. You're not supposed to actually be able to play in this hallway, but we found out that if you merge and unmerge at the right time, you can just kind of mess around. We haven't found a good way to skip this opening to chapter 2 yet, but hopefully one day we can save that minute long. Oh, all right, come on. This wall climbing thing is still kind of weird. We're still trying to figure out the best way to do it. For solo, you have to kind of bounce between merge and jump, so it's a work in progress, but it does help at a few spots like that one. Usually you split the yarnies and there's a couple little sparkles that you have 1 yarnie per sparkle, and it kind of energizes, and you'll see it later in the game. I think we do a couple of those, but it kind of starts a cutscene and does something. So anytime we can try and skip these little cutscenes, that's going to be one of the big time saves for solo, and I guess co-op too. But in co-op you skip a lot of stuff. You basically don't see a good portion of this game in co-op just because you're flying over stuff and just not really playing the game like it was intended to be played. But it goes a lot quicker in co-op, so there's that. So we're going to try and skip a cutscene here by separating these journeys, pulling one down, and then if we don't see anything in the background, cool. So usually there's a cutscene where there's people that come out of that door and you see these little flamey things, and these are kind of I guess if you want to call them the enemies of the game. They're just these weird flamey smoky characters that will kill you one hit. So I'm gonna try to not get hit by that one. See if I can make it over this one. All right, we're good. They're pretty much set on cycles, so you know what to expect when they kind of start moving as you enter an area. So for the most part, they're not really random, and they're relatively easy to avoid, at least in these opening chapters. Whoops. Later on in the game, especially in chapter 5, it gets a little bonkers. There's a lot going on, a lot of stuff that can kill you. So we're just gonna skip that puzzle right there, kind of do our own solution where it's called kind of cheating. But to be fair, we are using the controls that the game gave us. We're just using them to our advantage. So a little bit of swinging. Got some water fountains to definitely make our way past. In the Switch version of the game, actually, for some reason, somebody didn't pay the water bill, and the water fountains don't actually shoot out water, so they're just there. So it's a lot easier to not get hit by the water, get knocked down. I don't know why, but it is pretty funny to see. I think there's that, and there's one more puzzle that's slightly different in chapter 1 for some reason, but everything else in the game is the same as all the other versions. So if you hate getting blasted by water, then the Switch version is for you. So coming up is another potential for a major skip, and that is not what we'll be doing in this run. So this skateboard acts in the same way as the log does in the beginning of chapter 1, and if you get a yarny above and below it, then sometimes you can get the weird kind of physics reaction to it, and it will blast you up, left, right, down, anywhere. But potentially it can shoot you all the way to the end of the chapter. And whoops, this is not co-op. I keep forgetting. and it can be a way to kind of cut chapter 2 in half if you get lucky and get blasted all the way to the end of the chapter. We're going to use the... Oh no, come on. Alright, nope. Hit. There we go. The goat climb somewhat successfully. On PC, there's actually a way to do somewhat the same thing, but with a keyboard. And so by kind of holding the direction into the wall and then using jump and away from the wall, kind of sporadically, you can, what was kind of termed infinite wall jump, and you can make your way up in the same manner as that kind of goat climb strat. It's a little bit slower and it's a little bit harder, but it is a good way to do it. It kind of sucked though when that was the only option, because obviously on console you're restricted and you can't do that strat. So this new strat that works on console or PC was a nice little way for everybody to be on the same playing field. So that was a pleasant surprise. We were actually looking for glitches for a different game we had been playing recently, and for some reason it was just like, well, let's type in Unravel and glitches and see what they got, see if we missed something, maybe trying to find new ways to play the game. And here was this video of, on a console run, somebody climbing up a wall that we had thought was impossible all this time. And it was a video from like the previous year, almost exactly a year. And we're like, what the heck? So all this time there was a solution to our problems that we didn't even know about. So the lesson of the story is Google or go on YouTube and search your game and search for glitches, and maybe somebody found something. Bless that person. When it works, and when it doesn't work, you're like, curse that person, but for the most part, bless that person. But yeah, just making our way through. Little city background. Some changes scenery. Luckily, every chapter's a slightly different area, so if you get tired of, you know, this city background, just wait, because the next chapter will be something new. Yada yada yada. There are definitely favorites as far as chapters go for us. Ooh, don't fall into the water. My favorites have been so far chapter 3 and 4, and probably chapter 7. Least favorite will be chapter 5 and 6, and hopefully it goes well enough that you'll be like, well, why did you hate that? But if it goes not well, then you'll understand our frustration with 5 and 6. 5 is just like a death factory. Not really like they're making death, but we die. But hopefully not. But here's a little bit of working together. We propel ourselves over this wall that moves. Yeah, luckily that car drove like right over us. I think the wind knocked us over, so you can get run over by the car though, so just be careful. Always look both ways before crossing the road. You know the story. So we made it up onto the rooftops now. Would say less dangerous than playing in the road, but I don't know if that's necessarily true, especially if we're swinging from rooftop to rooftop. But here we tie the knot, and you can make these little trampolines. I guess we made some earlier in the chapter, but that's one mechanic that you don't really see a whole lot in co-op, so shout outs to Knot Trampolines. That's K-N-O-T, not N-O-T. We'll make a big one here. Get these guys up there. Alright, remerge. See if we can dodge a couple little flaming guys right here. There is a little bit of flame dodging coming up, but for the most part, chapter 2 is pretty benign, not too bad. I think I'm gonna try, usually you just kind of climb across and swing over. I'm gonna try the little goat climb strat here, see if I can get up. Alright, not too bad. Oops. Staying together obviously helps. you can't. Well, I mean, I guess you can technically drag the other Yarny, but I don't recommend it. It doesn't make things a little bit more difficult. Oh. So we can kind of goat climb over that wall right there. The invisible wall kind of goes up past where you can see. Oh, jump into here. Do this puzzle kind of as intended. There's a fun but difficult way to almost entirely skip this puzzle in co-op, but that's going to be the case for a lot of these puzzles. Whoops! Where there's like the solo way to do it, and then there's the co-op way to not really do it, but go past it. Yeah, this is pretty much the end of chapter 2. So, kind of made our way through the rooftops, and we'll find the kids in this little attic space. They've escaped the adults, and they're just kind of up here hanging out, chilling, just being kids, enjoying life. Simpler times. So shout outs to kids being kids. Hopefully I have the live split sound effect turned off after this chapter, but we'll find out. So now in the lighthouse, when we get back to it, we're going to do a quit and continue. And because we're on PC, it'll be quicker to do that than to wait for this lighthouse animation to play out. So after every chapter, there's these little sparkles in the chapter that you can collect, and they, I guess, like color in. There's empty canvases on the wall, and they color in as like a painting. So if you collect all the collectibles, you fill in the whole canvas, and you get to see these different little art figures. So instead of waiting for the little sparkles to shoot out into the paintings and the little cutscene that follows that in the lighthouse, we'll quit and continue, and that skips all of that, and then we can go right back into moving around. If you are playing on console, if you don't have a solid state drive, then you could potentially save time by doing that, but not necessarily. If you do have a solid state, then go ahead and quit and continue if you want to save some seconds in between the chapters. It's a nice little way to. I'm gonna go ahead and try the go climb here. Why not? Okay, it worked. Cool. So chapter 3 has a nice little change of scenery again. Nice happy music if you can hear it. We will see our first, I guess, main boss, if you want to call it. There's not really like bosses with health bars and all this stuff, but there is a grouse coming up. This big old bird who is really scary. There's a grouse in chapter 3, and there is a fish in chapter 4, which will terrorize you. So we will get to experience some level of fear in this run, I promise. So we'll use that little balloon in the truck to wall climb up. Falling down may have negated whatever the time save that would have been, but we'll do it anyway. That's fine. Too late now. So now you see kind of this background. You see there was some sort of party going on, and things went awry. So, oh, that can. Yeah, for some reason that can, if you land it in the wrong way, it kind of just negates your forward momentum. So we get to see some wildlife. We get a hedgehog just chilling out in the background. I think a spider. Yep, there's a spider crawling on the wood right there. This barn's seen better days. You'll see the adults kind of looking for the kids. The kids are hiding behind the table. They'll slap the crap out of this little sparkle, and then we are able to move again. We're going to be trying to go climb out of this barn. I'm going to turn on slow-mo because I need all the advantages I can get. This one's a little bit weird because the wall's a little bit slanted. If the wall is more of just like a vertical straight up and down wall, it seems to be easier to do the goat climb, so you can still get over slightly slanted walls, but not quite as easy. So luckily turning on slow-mo seems to help, at least in my experiences. So kind of use that as a crutch for now until we learn how to do goat climbs a little bit better. But yeah, the happy music has stopped. We're just kind of going through the woods now. Get some moose in the background. I guess we still kind of have some happy music. It's not totally scary yet. Kind of making our way past some flames, nothing too crazy. We'll be dropping down into a little underground section, which I think I'll be trying to do an infinite wall jump with the keyboard coming up. Makes things a little bit easier. See if I can remember how to do this. Alright, gonna swap over to the keyboard. And if there we go. So yeah, for that one, you kind of hold into the wall and it helps you kind of just jump into the wall a few times. And that's one of the few spots where the infinite wall jump seems to be, woo, the way to go. Come on. Come on, there we go. So you can just barely jump off that little stick down there and kind of climb up without having to do this puzzle. I guess the more casual route way. Alright, so here's the big... If you have a fear of grouses, I suggest looking away for the next few minutes. Our goal here is not to get torn apart by this bird. See, even the kids have been disturbed. Just no respect for anybody. Uh-oh, okay, we're good. So as long as you keep moving, you're pretty much safe. It doesn't make it any less terrifying, but that'll be our goal, is just keep moving and stay alive. So you get to the can and he's just waiting for you. Split up, kind of distract them with one yarn. Oh god. Drop down the can. Don't get eaten. We'll distract him on the other side with that yarning. And alright, made it through. Get a momentary pause from the bird action, but not for very long. And the bird will stay with us pretty much the rest of the chapter, so just kind of staying up and away. He's waiting. You make one false jump, one bad swing, you're toast. Right, not too bad, not too bad. Just gotta jump on these little branches or pieces of wood. Still, like, that whole part just, I know for the most part it's not gonna get you, but it's still terrifying. Yeah, the bird music and the fish music are some of my favorite songs of the game. So that is like one of the small positive things. If the bird does attack you, it means you just get to listen to the song a little bit more. So don't consider it a win-loss, I guess, at that point. But we made it past the bird without getting too destroyed. So the Yarnies collect this final little sparkle, the portal opens up, and they barely escape the bird as it comes barreling at them. Live to fight another day. And then justice is served. So chapter 3 in the books. Do the old quit and continue and head over to chapter 4. So chapter 4, we still get the we're still kind of out in nature. We get some nice wooded backgrounds. We get a little bit of some lake action with some water and the fish, and you see the kids still kind of just trying to escape the adults. Towards the end of this chapter, you see them kind of hanging out by the lake and just looking like they're having a good time. So that's the goal of the game. Just stay away from those nasty shadow adults. So starting here in the woods, hopping along, get the little cutscene where you see the kids and the adults again. And again, you see this little sparkle come up and kind of mess with the adults and get slapped down. So I'm assuming the sparkle is kind of our like guardian energy going to help the kids. But kind of take it as you will, make whatever story you want. I guess there's not too many options you can have, but you know, just a nice little background story. So we'll do this one kind of normal. Swing it up. This is where you have those two sparkles, and when each yarn gets in one, it, you know, jolts in the yarn, and then the little sparkle thing that flies around does its thing. And then it goes through that kind of black webbing that looks like it's I mean, yeah, I guess it is just black webbing. There's not really, it looks like it just is. It kind of prevents you from going to different places, so that takes care of that. We're gonna be trying another goat climb here. This one's kind of tricky. Yep, that didn't go well. Just trying to get high enough to grab. Yep, that knot, and then we climb up. Normally you just push. There's a brick that falls down, and you take that brick to kind of break up the plank that we just were walking on. But again, we get the nice like little friendly music to start off with before we eventually get attacked by the fish. It's just a nice chill little kind of platforming chapter, so when it goes well, whoops, it's just nice to kind of be jumping around, swinging around, kind of going from one little platforming section to the next. So there's one of the little sparkles under that tree right there. I think there's 4 that you can pick up in most of the chapters. There's one on the end and beginning of a chapter that you just kind of automatically get, and then there's 4 that you can pick up in chapters 2 through 6, and then in chapter 7 there's, I think, 9 in the chapter that you have to like find yourselves, and they're all in a particular section of the chapter. So fun little things to do. You got some collectibles to go about finding in the game. But you see the kids here kind of chilling out in the background. We'll be trying to goat climb here. Oh, close, but a cigar. Alright. I'm just gonna push that. We'll just pretend that worked in a couple seconds. So it's a slightly slower way to do this puzzle. But here you just swing over, jump over, and then climb up. That wall seems to give me some trouble a lot, so don't want to spend all day just trying to climb up a wall that's not having it. So we'll do this little section. This part cooperatively is pretty cool. So instead of doing those like 3 or 4 swings, you can just do this one really like beefy swing to start with and just kind of fly over the rest. So it's a nice little way to speed things up. One of the work harder not smarter type of situations where why swing, you know, multiple times when you can just take care of it with one swing. But we make our way through this first little forest section, and then we find ourselves, whoops, this is solo, not co-op. We find ourselves on a little bit of a like a lake. You see a boat down there. We're gonna fly over, and then eventually we're gonna meet the old mean Mr. Fish and have a nice song to back our escape. This jump right there's, for some reason it's kind of tricky to get over that stick, and if you hit that stick, what has been kind of termed the swim of shame, because you have to swim for about 10 seconds because there's no real good way to get back up. So here is Mr. Fish. Kind of, I mean, I guess we do like wake him up. Oh, please get on the lily pad. So can't really blame the fish for being a little bit pissed off. So, but yeah, that fish will come into play a little bit later. There's going to be a somewhat scary evasion on some lily pads. There's a little sparkle right there under that fallen branch. Alright, so here's where the fun begins. Again, mainly just keep moving and jumping and you should be fine, but still kind of terrifying. So eat your heart out, Jaws. There's a new boss in town. That's it. Then we give him a nice whack with that ore at the end. So any run where we don't get destroyed by the fish is a good run, so I'll take it. And then here, instead of kind of doing this little puzzle, we're just going to be trying a goat climb up this wall. Oh, I thought it was up there. Okay, that'll work. And that's another one where you use a brick to kind of... Well, I guess there's a bunch of brick breaking in this chapter. Here we use the brick to plop down on the plank and launch one of the yarnies, and the other one just kind of climbs up. That's chapter 4. So we're over halfway done. We get a nice long cutscene at the end of this chapter, so it's in a full run, it's a nice place to kind of chill out, get some water, potentially go pee if you need to. But yeah, I guess the yarnies are just like attacking all wildlife in the area, so we hitch a ride. This bird, thankfully, is a lot nicer and takes us over to where the kids are just enjoying a nice afternoon on the lake. Just being kids. Yeah, I'll take friendly birds over mean birds any day. You see the yarnies going into the in chapter portal. Go back into the lighthouse. And then it's on to possibly the not greatest chapter in the run. It's fun, it's a nice challenge, but it can be tough. It can be slightly demoralizing. But it is chapter 5. And so as you're going through the portals and the lighthouse, what you're kind of missing out on the little cutscenes when you come back into the lighthouse is the lighthouse kind of comes to life and allows you to get to different places in the lighthouse. Yes, this is the Death Factory, which I think they're actually, like, the factory is manufacturing what we think are bullets. So I guess it could technically be a Death Factory. But we start outside. It just like off the bat starts out kind of grim. We have dogs and searchlights, and the kids kind of trespass into this factory. So just look past the possible legal implications. No big deal. Kids being kids, trespassing, no big, yeah, whatever. Didn't we all do this as a kid? So we got a nice little stop sign that we're going to ignore. We get to interact with the forklift, which is always fun. I highly recommend, if you ever have a chance to work a forklift, do it. I guess. So we'll use this to help us get up the wall. We could go climb up the wall, but it's probably just as quick to do this. This one little flame, ooh, that is pretty tight. It's not a huge deal if you get got by the flame. You kind of start back where you were with a slightly better flame cycle, but we start to see some of the boxes in the background. We get like a little cutscene that plays out in the background where the little boy gets taken by one of the shadowy adults, and we actually skip the cutscene where you see him get freed later on, but I'll kind of try and point that out as we're going past it. And that was one of the big changes that this new goat climb allowed for in the solo run. So there's some pretty decently sized cutscene skips and out of bounds stuff in this chapter. So that's probably one of the biggest changes is this particular chapter with the new strats, where I think that cutscene skip can save you like 40 to 50 seconds. All right, let's see if I can. I'm gonna try the go climb here to kind of skip this puzzle. Okay, not too bad. I'll take it. Oh, you see the girl kind of racing around trying to find her friend, see where he was taken to. Bunch of machinery and kind of factory stuff. A lot of OSHA violations will be happening later in this chapter. So, safety first, except for this game. But just some nice kind of platforming and swinging that goes on in this chapter. So that's the thing. That's like the good thing and the bad thing with chapter 5 is it's pretty much up to you. All right, good wall jump. How this chapter is gonna go. If you're on your game, I should have just done the slow way. Then it's kind of the better you play, the better the chapter goes. Obviously, I guess that's with any level, but when chapter 5 goes well, it's nice and smooth, but it doesn't often go well. So therein lies our frustrations. So this next little like kind of 90-degree pipe, I'm gonna try and get up. It's a little tricky because that angle right there doesn't make that the goat climb super easy, but it wasn't too bad. So we're kind of dropping down into the factory itself now, and here's where stuff gets a little bit more interesting. I do like chapter 5 for the scenery and all the machinery and stuff. I think it's pretty cool. A lot of flames and hot looking stuff. I do like this song too, but granted, I really enjoyed the soundtrack just overall. So it's like trying to pick your favorite kid when they're all pretty decent kids. This one we pretty much do as intended. I haven't quite found a good way to skip this puzzle yet. Oop, oop. This next little section, you can kind of climb up the wall and go out of bounds a bit. So if we get a good goat climb here, there we go. So there's a little like fire maze where you have one Yarny drop down. It's a little bit more difficult in solo because you got to switch between the Yarnies to kind of move them left and right, and then change Yarnies to go up and down, change Yarnies to go left and right, change Yarnies to go up and down. In co-op, that section goes a lot quicker, but it's also kind of dangerous. So whenever we're allowed to go out of bounds, we just kind of skip that. It doesn't actually save a whole lot of time to go out of bounds right there, but it's a lot less risky when you aren't trying to get burned or crushed. A nice little jump section here. Get some more moving platforms coming up. A lot of ways to die, a lot of different ways to die to keep it unique. We have this rotating saw that does some damage. If you're a fan of wall jumps, then that's the section for you. And the problem with chapter 5 is sometimes the checkpoints they give you aren't the greatest in the world, especially in co-op where the tendency to do more risky and slightly stupid things is always present. So got it. Okay, so like this section, if you try kind of risky stuff, you usually have to go all the way back to the beginning. So it's just kind of knowing where your checkpoints are and how risky you want to be. And then coming up, I'm going to be trying for something that's kind of been known as the box skip, where if you jump and kind of get the edge of the first box, you can jump into the next box and you know, save whatever time it is from one box to another. It's pretty fun to do and kind of shoot for, but not the end of the world if you don't get it. But one of the kind of nice little visual glitches, usually the box is like fully put together at this point, but since you jumped into the first one, you can see all the contents. There's no lid on the box, and it just looks a little bit more busted, I guess. And you gotta make your way on this conveyor belt. So you're seeing like the bullet symbol on these boxes, these crates full of what one can only imagine. You can kind of see the little boy in the background. He's gonna be put into this like office room, and I guess, I mean, we're not actually gonna break it this time like you're supposed to in the game. We're gonna be going out of bounds and skipping the whole cutscene that basically the Yarnies in a room coming up. There's like a lever, and if you pull it, for some reason everything falls apart, and you're pretty much destroying this factory slowly but surely. So just take my word for it. When we get to that point, things are falling apart, and we free that little boy. So instead of doing this, we're just going to climb up the wall as intended. Trust me. And then once we get up the wall, we're just gonna kind of run to the left a little bit, drop off, skipping the cutscene, which is, it's a pretty loud cutscene, so I don't mind skipping it. I think you can kind of hear the siren going in the background. So just as the boy got out of that room that we just passed, that you kind of didn't see because we skipped everything, but he's fine. Get this nice little section where we escape these flamey dudes. Nothing too crazy. Surprisingly easy to get caught up and die in that section, but it's just kind of basic platforming, so nothing too crazy. A little bit of swinging there at the end. We made it through. So here we see the boy and the girl kind of reunite, and of course the shadowy adults are right on their trail. There is a way to skip this cutscene in co-op, but we get the full-on, yep, acted out perfectly by the young people. We got the sparkle. Not getting slapped this time, which is always, you love to see it. So then we have the two sparkles that we need to get the Yarnies to kind of, I guess, use their energy to, let's see, I think I might have done this wrong. Okay, not too bad. Okay, cool. I always forget, because we skipped this in co-op, I always forget what the order is for that puzzle. So shout outs to people with good memories that don't have to guess. So we gave the adults a slip, and then there's just a little bit more factory destruction before we're done with chapter 5. So we slide down this pipe. So this forklift is out of commission, but not for long. The end of this chapter, the cutscene's kind of loud, so just a heads up. But whoop whoop. We kind of power on the forklift, and then it's going to just ram through everything. Take us to freedom. The Yarnies get yeeted there at the end where the forklift runs into the fence. We get the kids escaped, and they're kind of making their way out into the forest now. Unfortunately, this next chapter, the forest, things go not well. And if Smokey the Bear is watching, I would suggest looking away, because this next chapter is not for you. Yeah, the game takes a very like destructive turn after the first few chapters, where you get factories getting torn up, you get forests being set on fire. I don't think we do anything too destructive in chapter 7, but if they could, they would. I mean, I guess the kids do almost kill somebody, so there's that, but we'll get to it when we get to it.
Do you know if the dam's a good thing? Opening the dam, you know? At the end?
Yeah, probably not.
What if they just flooded the bottom of the town or something?
So everything's nice and quiet and chill in this forest. For now. Got some shroomies there. Got a bunch of shroomies. Shout outs to mushrooms. You do some amazing stuff.
Sure.
I'm gonna try and see if I can just do that. I like the music, how it starts in chapter 6, because it's kind of got this like very pensive atmosphere, and you know something's coming. Very foreboding before everything catches on fire, and then you know crap's at the fan. So usually in co-op we'll be skipping this cutscene which actually shows how the fire gets started. So it's nice in solo, you get to see what's going on instead of like the forest just going from being fine to on fire and there's no explanation. So you see that electric fence. For some reason these logs get knocked off the truck. It gets knocked over and game on. So no longer are you avoiding these little smoky flames, but you're actually just trying to avoid flames in general. The big boys, here they come. If I can climb up this tractor normally. This is not a really tractor, it's just like a truck. A wood carrying truck. It's not going to be very good at carrying wood when it's on fire. But that's not our problem right now, we're just trying to escape. Yeah, another banger. This is the flame avoiding song of our generation. We're gonna make our way inside this underground section. Try and avoid the heat for a little bit. Somehow these kids are just like making it through all of this stuff fine. I don't know. You go from breaking and entering to dealing with a huge fire. It's just a very interesting experience. Do a little bit of puzzling right here. A little bit of platforming to avoid some little smoky flamey guys. I guess these guys are more flame than smoke, but very detailed game. Visually and sonically, I really enjoyed this game. So highly recommend it just because it looks and sounds amazing. Shoutouts to Coldwood Interactive for making some really cool games. Pretty unique compared to what's out there. Just chill little platforming games with some puzzles. That's your jam if you're just looking for a kind of chill evening, even though I guess right now we're going through a forest on fire, but if you can look past that, it's still chill, trust me.
Grass is
Yeah. Birds and fish that sometimes have no chill. Alright, back into the flames. Back into the jams. So the flames definitely come more into play for the rest of the chapter. So there's these little sections with like hot coals, and you can jump twice before you kind of catch on fire. There is a way to jump twice and then unmerge and remerge, and it kind of allows you to potentially jump and unmerge, remerge forever. So there is a point that I'll be trying to do that. It's a little difficult with timing, but we'll see what happens when we get to that point. So we get these little breakaway branch sections. Not too bad as long as you keep moving. So this section coming up where you can jump twice is going to be where I'm going to be trying to jump. Nope, got left behind. Alright, worth a shot. Again, that one's pretty difficult to do in solo. In co-op, that's way easier to do. Not, oh, that's not good. Saved it. So you kind of jump off the end and, uh-oh, please, no! That's how you do it. So if you can hear her laughing, that is C's 5. Being a good teammate back there.
We love.
Here we got the slight Indiana Jones situation going where we just dip down and make it past. So just more flames and hot situations to avoid. There's not a whole lot of crazy stuff going on. It's a good platforming chapter. Jump at the right time. I get killed by that log that's on fire. This one too. Alright, so there's a cutscene that will play out here usually. But we're going to be trying to do our goat climb to be cutscene haters. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Nope. Yeah. There we go. So by using that a couple of times, we can kind of hop over that black cobweb looking stuff, skip the cutscene, save some time, miss that knot, so we'll just run and jump.
Indiana Jones.
Here we're going to be doing that 2 jumps before you die thing to just get past that part. I don't actually know how you're supposed to do that section normally. I think when we first played through, that was how we did it, and then apparently that's not how you're supposed to do it, so I'm not exactly sure, but it works. So if it works, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Up, 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 up. Sometimes climbing up these objects is a little wonky. Oh no, I missed it! Alright. So it does help to actually land on the stick before you try and use it. And these sticks are a little, not great because you got the flames that kind of like creep up on them. So you can't spend a whole lot of time just hanging out. But you do need to actually land on it before you can use it as an anchor point. So we run and jump for a long time now. See some animals trying to escape the flames. Can't really blame them. Seems like the smart thing to do. And eventually we will come up to a barn that is currently engulfed in flames, and we'll go inside. There are horses inside, which the children are trying to figure out how to save. Stay tuned to see if they succeed. So, stuff's getting real inside this barn. Lots of flames. Not ideal. This is not a great... Ooh! This is not co-op. This is not a great barn situation. But luckily, you move quickly enough that you can avoid the flames. Or hopefully avoid them. With some good old classic platforming. We'll tie this little claw machine looking thing. Pull this up. Make our way down to put out some flames, and then we will find out if the horses make it out alive. do some firefighting while we're here, trying to help out in whatever ways we can. Drum roll, please. Oh, they saved them. There we go. You love to see it. So everybody makes it out of the barn all in one piece. And we just kind of leave this place on fire and go to chapter 7. So, out of the flames and into the rapids. I don't know how safe it is to just kind of like chill out in this little shed, but they make it because you see the kids again in chapter 7, so it's all good. Trust us. Right. And the cool thing with chapter 7 is it's not really like anything else in the game. First of all, you start going right to left. So you spent the last hour going left, right in every single chapter. And then they throw a nice little curveball at you, and here you go, going right to left. So if you like going right to left, then this chapter's for you, at least to start. I guess it's the remnants of the fire, actually. So everything's kind of died down. We all made it through. The nice, calm, chilling, like angelic music in the background. But the first half starts off, you're just going right to left. A little bit of swinging to start things off. Nothing too crazy. Some frogs. There is a chance to see a magical frog. Let's see what happens here. No. Sometimes that frog will jump off and it'll just like hang out midair. I don't know why, but it's awesome every time it happens. So, shout outs to that frog.
We love you, Magic Frog.
Yeah. It's always a blessed run whenever you get to see it. But we're making our way into this kind of oh, there's a little snake. This kind of watermill area. You see the kids potentially trespassing again, but whatever. You see the shadows, little shadow adults right down there too. So hot on their tail. But we make it into here, and there's like 4 or 5 little kind of platform rooms where you do a little bit of puzzle solving. Normally, I'm gonna be trying to utilize that goat climb to kind of make my own path in life. So we'll do it there, and we'll climb up here. Skip doing that. That's always a fun puzzle, trying to remember how to do it correctly. So I'm not missing that one. Oops. Do a couple more swings. Get into the nice little post-rock section of the music here. Yep, wall jumps. And then instead of doing this little puzzle, we're just going to be trying to go over this wall. The goat climbs work out. There we go, not too bad. This next one we pretty much do as intended. So we start this little contraption, climb up here. We're gonna swing over to the very end where we need to push off this rolly thing, like so. That causes all the machinery to work, and we're just going to go under that. And then this last little puzzle will be doing our good old goat climb at the end. And then these little levers, we're going to open the floodgates. Whoops. And that will bring us to the last section of the game, which for some reason just adds a double jump ability. So yeah. Oh, we got the good music. Okay. Usually the music changes here, but for some reason we're still not really sure why, but you can get the music inside the watermill to like continue for the rest of the chapter. So normally you have this kind of upbeat, kind of happy sounding music, and it's just so funny to hear the like kind of more sad, somber music following you as you finally play through the rest of the chapter. But yeah, so there's a double jump now, which if you unmerge and merge and use the other Yarny, you can get like a triple jump kind of out of it. So I'll try and do that off some swings, because the rest of the chapter is just out in the open like this, swinging, jumping, no more puzzles or anything really to solve. It's just trying to get the best swings you can get, optimal movement, and trying not to... There's some flames in the water, so obviously trying to avoid those, and then just kind of make your way as quickly as you can. So these little blue stringy magical things, was there a name for them, you know?
There is a name for them that passes underneath the screen, but I noticed that it happened, but I didn't retain what it said.
So they might have a name from the game, but no, I think some people have called them like lightning
Rails, I
but
think.
yeah, so normally you have like the one not... Oh yeah, there's the potential murder, where the kids push the adult into the raging river.
Well, I realized this for the first time, that the adults are actually still in that spot where you leave them when you go through.
Oh, like in the mill?
Yeah.
Ah.
And so when you open up the water,
Oh, they're like right there?
they're right there. They're right there. So they somehow survived.
So they get washed away twice, potentially?
Well,
Yeah, these
and
kids
then
are
there's another
my
time-
heroes.
Yeah. Well, there's also the theory that you are going back through the memories of the chapters you just lived. We just passed the swan in chapter 4, and so there are things in here that kind of hint to the other parts, but no one knows for sure.
But yeah, just swinging and jumping and chilling in some water. This part of the game is, I will admit, a lot more interesting and fun in co-op because you can use each other to do these like super swings. Oh yeah, this isn't co-op. I need to keep going. And so basically there's like 4 or 5 swings.
No, there's also this.
Oh yeah, so you do see the adults come back out, so they didn't kill them.
Yeah.
Or at least their ghost came out of the water. We don't know. But you do like 5 or 6 of these huge mega swings and just are flying all over the place. It's pretty neat. So it's a little more sad doing this solo. You're just kind of jumping around, but it is what it is. It's still a fun solo experience, even without the cool mega swings. Because for a long time, when we were doing co-op runs, Steves would just kind of backpack, and I would I would go to her, and somebody would do pretty much the whole rapids by themselves, because there wasn't much for the second. Oh no! The second person to do. That's not how you do that part. So the mega swings is a nice way to keep us both entertained, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a little sad to be watching this and not playing it.
So time will be coming up in about 10 seconds or so. This is the last big hurrah towards the end. And we'll be doing a nice big jump off this waterfall. And then once you see the Yarnies go past the metal grate at the end, and the screen fades to black, so time is now. Yeah, so that's Unravel 2. And then you see all these like shadowy figures kind of coming together. You see the kids, and then all these Yarnies gather at the top of the lighthouse. And, you know, power, friendship, and light and all, blast away all these storm clouds and stuff that are surrounding lighthouse. Blast away all these shadowy figures, and kind of peace is brought back to this little island.
GG.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, Riles!
Hey, Riles.
A fellow solo runner. Good to see. But yeah, highly recommend Unravel 2. Great games, Coldwood Interactive. Just nice little wholesome games. Great soundtracks, great visuals. the right amount of challenge and frustration to balance out with the enjoyment of the game itself. These are all like the little creatures, the Yarnies. If you do the challenge levels, you can unlock different heads, and not really, I guess you get all the colors to start with, but the different head shapes. By completing the challenge, you kind of free these trapped Yarnies, so it's a pretty cool way to unlock different appearances and incentivize you to do the challenge levels, because they are like way more difficult than the actual game itself. But it's pretty cool to have like that nice, like the kind of chill story, and then like the extra stuff if you want to do it and get your Yarny caved in by difficult challenge levels, then you can do that too. But thanks again to Fleet Fest. Always enjoy these marathons, so was really happy to see another one getting put together. Thanks to everybody that's running this marathon and all the runners. Thanks for people that have been donating and just hanging out watching these cool runs. It's always great to see, and it's really appreciate being a part of this. So looking forward to some more